Video, we're going to talk about quadratic word problems. So this example says the following. A ball is thrown directly upward from a height of 6 feet with an initial velocity of 20 feet per second. The function s of t equals negative 16t squared plus 20t plus 6 gives the height of the ball in feet t seconds after it has been thrown. Determine the time at which the ball reaches its maximum height and find the maximum height. Now, this might seem like a difficult problem, but in reality it's very simple. We just need to understand the concepts behind it. Well, first of all, what type of function is s of t? Well, t is t squared. So just by the look at it, of it, you can guess accurately that this is a quadratic function. So how does it look like? Well, if you have a flight of a projectile and it starts at an initial height, in this case 6 feet, then the maximum height is this one, right? And if this is a parabolic shape or the shape of a quadratic function, then what is this point or this coordinate? Well, that coordinate is the vertex of the parabola. Now we do know the equation for the vertex is negative b over 2a. So we just need to plug in t, and we're gonna, whenever we have a word problems, usually you will want to describe what t is. So in this case is t for the maximum height. So t max is negative b over 2a. So let's see. What's b? B here is 20. And what's a? A here is negative 16. So this becomes negative 20 over 2 times negative 16. And that gives me, well, negative over negative is positive. 20 divided by 2 is 10 over 16, which can be simplified by 5 over 8. Now, what's the units of this t max? Well, 5/8 of a second. Now, that's the time it reaches its maximum height. Now, to find the maximum height, you will need to plug in 5/8 into your equation. Okay, so it's going to be, so s of 5/8 equals negative 16 5/8 squared plus 20 times 5/8 plus 6. Now, I'm pretty old-fashioned in terms of fractions. I like to find the fractions, the exact value. It's just a habit of mine. For word problems, you don't have to find the exact value, but I like to find it. So here we go. So negative 16, 5/8 squared is 25 over 64 plus 20 over 1. 20 times 5 is 100, so 100 over 8 plus 6. So 16 over 1. 16 times 25 is negative 400 over 64 plus 100 over 8 plus 6 over 1. Now we need a common denominator, which is 64. So I need to multiply by 8 over 8. And this one by 64 over 64. So you're left with negative 400 over 64 plus 800 over 64 plus 64 times 6, which is 384, over 64. If we put them together, you got negative 400 plus 800, which is 400, plus 384 over 64, which gives you 784 over 64, which gives you 12.25 feet. Okay? So you have at the maximum height is when it reaches 12.25 feet. And that will be your answer. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below or ask me in class. Thank you.